The Odd Pod.
Odd Pod. Hello, and thanks for listening to The Odd Pod once again. It was 61 years ago today. If you were watching the television, you or your children were probably watching this.
A town is full of buildings, some tall, some short, some wide, and some narrow. The buildings are flats and houses and factories and shops. They're built in streets. The streets have cars and buses and lorries driving along them. A river runs through the middle of the town. The river has large boats and small boats on it. There's a bridge across the river so that the cars and buses and lorries can get to the buildings on the other side. The cars and the buses and the streets are full of people. In fact, there are a lot of people in a town. Do you live in a town? Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in this town.
Yes, Mary, Mungo and Midge, the British animated children's television series created by John Ryan and produced by the BBC in 1969. The show featured the adventures of a girl called Mary, her dog Mungo and her pet mouse Midge, who lived with Mary's parents in a tower block in a busy town. BBC newsreader, you will have recognised Richard Baker narrated the episodes, with John Ryan's daughter Isabel playing Mary. The theme tune and other music for the series were provided by Johnny Pearson. It's not clear who played the parts of the dog or the mouse. The show was one of the first children's shows in the UK to reflect urban living. The programme showed Mary having adventures in a busy town as opposed to in a wood, a forest or other rural setting, apart from in the garage episode in which the family had a picnic in the countryside. The two featured animals were likely to be familiar to town dwellers as opposed to the array of talking wildlife usually seen in children's television series. In each episode, the three of them would descend in the lift from their flat in the tower block. After their adventures, they'd return home. Midge would press the button for the lift to the correct floor by standing on Mungo's nose. Mary, Mungo and Midge was a production of John Ryan Studios. He was also responsible for Captain Pugwash and the Adventures of Sir Prancelot. Episode 1 was aired by the BBC 51 years ago today, and it was called The Crane. And of course, it's worth adding that the whole series was made before the onset of COVID-19 restrictions. It was proper kids' TV for proper kids, of which, of course, I was one, and I loved it.
The Odd Pod.